A side, B side, what side are you on?
Hello.
Hello.
How's it going, Adam?
It is going well. How are you, Brooke?
Pretty good, pretty good. We are back here on another episode of A Side, B Side podcast. I feel like we always forget to do this, but I guess maybe after, 140 episodes, maybe we should introduce myself. That's Adam. I'm Brooke.
Hi, I'm Adam. That's Brooke. Welcome to the podcast. If you're one of the three random people who stumbled upon this and doesn't actually know us, welcome.
Hello, and how are you today? Man, so much kind of happening right now. Of course, the big news as we are recording this is the Titan submersible, which oh my gosh, it's like I think tomorrow morning is when they are expected to not have any more air. But then again, I was just reading, Adam, that they've never really tested the air supply or amount of air
Right.
in the submersible. So they're kind of guessing, and it also depends on the breathing rate of the individual. So like your typical crew who might be a little more trained, you would think, maybe
Yeah.
a little bit calmer and not breathing as much, but five panicky people might be using up all the oxygen. So
I mean, honestly, 5 people trapped in a tiny submersible running out of air feels like a Black Mirror episode.
it really, really does, especially since the new season came out. It's like,
Yeah,
this is
it's like,
something
wait
we're
a
gonna see.
second.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
is this an episode that's just like live, or what is happening? Like, it's
Yeah.
really
The only thing that would be worse is if I mean, my gut feeling, and this is just because I have a negative Nancy at all times. Like, if you lose contact with the sub, it wasn't like that they just forgot to turn the radio on. Like, something probably happened at that time.
yeah.
You
Well,
know, is my gut.
they're saying that, like, I was reading, like, I've been, I think like everybody's been reading stuff, and like one expert says that they probably, like, right when they lost contact, there was probably a short which caused a fire.
Oh man, yeah.
But
Not
I
good.
don't know, because they've heard the knocking, the frantic knocking, and it's been like 30-minute increments. And so is that them, or like what else would it be? I don't it's just it's
I
crazy.
mean, maybe just some mermaids messing with people.
It could be like the mermaids are like,
What
oh,
if they were actually like Atlantis found, or like Atlantis found them, brought them. They were
they're
like,
just
"Oh, you
chilling
guys
in
got too
Atlantis.
close to the city. Yeah, like now you got to live here. Sorry, billionaires. Money's no good. Our currency is seashells."
We have no conversion for billions into
Yeah,
seashells.
sorry. I mean, 100, or was it 250 million or $250,000 per person?
Yeah. And then so you've got the billionaire and his son, right?
I think so. I have not paid close enough attention to see who's in the thing, because I guess part of my brain doesn't want to visualize the people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay, well, I'm gonna spoil it for you. It's still not gonna
Yeah,
give
it's
you a
gonna
mental
happen now,
picture.
so that's okay. That's what this podcast does. Just gives me nightmares.
So you've got like a billionaire and his son, then you've got like a French multimillionaire, you've got a former like Navy diver, and then the CEO of this company are all down there.
Mm-hmm. But he's like the pilot, right? That's the one person who he's the pilot slash CEO. I mean, at least
game controller.
Yeah, I guess. But is that legit? That it's
Yes.
really? Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
There was an interview, like I think it was on CBS Sunday Morning. One of the anchors from there like went in and he showed them that it's like a $30 Logitech game controller that is running this ship submersible.
Like, you know how many times my game controllers run out of batteries? Like, those things burn through batteries so quick.
Yeah.
So I wonder
remember
if,
like the old school, like the controllers and the cartridges when they didn't work, and you like
you have to blow into them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if you just blew into the controller, would it like fix things? I don't know. I mean, it's joking, but I'm not joking, because it just seems kind of like Seriously? And I know like a
It's
lot of
it's
people are
so
saying
absurd. Yeah.
it's, and I want them to be okay, but it's so absurd. Like he was doing the interview and he was like, "Oh yeah, there was something in the submersible." He's like, "Yeah, I picked this up at Camping World." Excuse me?
Not
I'm
what you want
going
to hear.
13,000 miles or whatever is it? Feet, miles, miles.
I think it's I don't know. It's probably feet. I don't know.
But
Because
I'm
thirteen
whatever it
thousand
is.
miles feels like that feels like too much.
That probably is too much. But whatever
Yeah.
it is, I'm going this length with you under the ocean and you're picking up stuff at Camping World? I'm sorry. We gotta do better.
It does not. Yeah, it does not give me a lot of enthusiasm or hope that things are going to turn out okay.
I
But
really, really
maybe
want it to,
maybe they
but
will. Yeah, maybe they will. But I feel like if they were going to, this would have happened already. Like it's not like like you're watching the movie and they're defusing the bomb and it always stops at one.
yeah. Right,
Like
right.
it's not like we're gonna find them and like with an hour left of air.
It's
If anything, we're gonna find them and it's gonna be like, well, and also like, how is anyone shocked? You are literally going to the world's most famous shipwreck, and then you shipwreck. Like,
well, and then apparently this same submersible tried this journey before and ended up like lost or had some off track or had some complications and then tried it a week later and then found the Titanic. So it's only successfully gone to the Titanic twice before.
and it's all you get to do is look out one porthole.
Yeah. And they're
It's like, how
sitting
is that
on the
exciting?
they're sitting on the ground. Like
Yeah, it's
it's
not like
basically the sign
chairs.
of like it's basically the size of like a minivan and
Yeah,
there's no
without
chairs.
seats.
Yeah. Uh,
I mean, another thing, like, I don't want to be this guy, but there's no bathroom.
Right. That's the other thing. They're like being in a container. And then what if you've
If
got
there's a
a
container,
apparently there's like a container, like
okay.
it's like a I don't
But you've got 5 people for 4 days.
mm-hmm.
Like just the built up gas from the human stuff could kill
Which
you.
okay, and serious question though. Serious question. And I'm not a scientist, so I don't know. But and I'm not trying to make this gross, but like you just mentioned, okay, now I'm 13 in his feet, 13,000 feet under the ocean.
Yeah.
I'm having nervous anxiety gas. What is happening to the oxygen in this thing?
I'm guessing it's getting real rank.
Is it like depleting the oxygen though? I mean,
Again, I only know my entire expertise of oxygen in enclosed spaces is from watching Apollo 13 like 4 times. And I know that they had to like, you know, jury rig the air filter from the module and bring it into the capsule, but they were different shapes and they had to figure out how to do some to make it work. But at least they had like the capsule. Like there is just no way with all the variables that if I feel like this is what do they say, like the first 48, if somebody goes missing and you don't find him in the first 48 hours, you're not going to find him.
yeah.
Like
Well,
I feel like if you're a tiny submersible, it's got to be even less.
well, okay. And the other thing is, let's say they made it to the surface. It's locked from the outside. It's locked from the outside. They can't even open it from the inside.
Well, that's where the mermaids come. Ariel's gonna have to unlock the.
I hope she's strong and has equipment because she's gonna
Well,
need it.
yes, that's true. I would assume King Triton could probably get that thing open.
Well, he's got his
He's got
well,
the Triton.
the Triton, yeah, King Triton and
Yeah,
his Triton. But
yeah. So way to go, Disney naming executives there.
yeah, I know, really creative.
Really took about 30 seconds on that one.
What's
Yeah, we
his
got
name gonna be?
this mermaid king. He carries a Triton. What should we call him? Let's call him King Triton. Okay.
Perfect. Fits.
Next.
Oh no, but seriously, it has
Should we call the crab? Crab? No, Sebastian. Okay.
This has captivated everybody, like not just in the United States, but worldwide. It seems to have captivated everybody. And I
And
do
maybe
hope for
we could
safe
just leave the
returns, but
Titanic alone. Let's just
yeah,
leave it alone.
it it's
Like,
it's down there. Let it stay. Let it rest. Like
yeah,
I almost feel like it's like the what is it, the Bermuda Triangle. Leave it alone. Stay away.
yeah, or that what's the money pit, like the it's up in like Newfoundland, Canada, where all these people are convinced that there's treasure buried underground,
And they
and,
do they keep going missing?
and then they keep digging, and like the people die. Like the Travel Channel or HGTV or one of those, like History Channel. One of those has a series on it, and it's like uh, Pirate Island or something like that. I don't know what's the name of it, but it's all these people keep searching for this treasure, digging giant holes into the ground, and then like stuff will cave in, and people will die. It's like cursed. And it's like, well, maybe don't look for it then.
Right. Maybe leave it alone.
Like after like 100 years of things going bad, let's just let it be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Totally agree. Totally agree.
But
Anyway, you watch anything good this week?
I have been trying to get outside as much as possible, and I have not watched a ton of stuff. Like pretty much regular, just some Murder She Wrote in there. I've been rewatching the Librarian movies to prep for the new series that is coming out this fall. I think on the CW, maybe
Mm-hmm.
sort of a reboot. Also, still watching Almost Paradise. Went to two baseball games in the last week, and my goal this summer is to get to 12 baseball games in the calendar year 2023, and I'm at 8 already.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm on a good pace, but it can go south real quick because I thought I was going to go to college games, but all the college games in Minnesota are done by mid-May.
Mm.
So there's a field right across the street from me where I was like, oh, I'll just walk down there, and I haven't got like the little spiral bound book where you could do this, keep the score, because I'm a giant nerd. Uh, and so I can't go to the high school and college. Those are closed. Those are done. I don't feel real comfortable just rolling up to some like grade school baseball game being the random old dude. I feel like that's not a great look. So I'm at professional, like minor league and like Northwoods League games now are my only. They all end by pretty much by the end of September. So I'm trying to get in as many as possible, but it's been really pretty beautiful here
Mm-hmm.
in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to enjoy the fact that it's not snowing.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
But I was gonna. It was funny. We in our preamble before we started today, Brooke was talking about how it was kind of nice out today, and I was like, yeah. I wonder if it's like super hot here, like 89. It's 89 here. It's like super hot, and you were like, no, we've had like 100 recently, so 89 is nice. I was like, oh, perspective. Oh,
I said it's only 89 and you go, only? Well,
only? What are you talking
yeah.
about?
Yeah.
But perspective is a good thing. So, uh, uh, I actually I there are three librarian movies that came out on uh was it TBS or TNT, FX, one of those, and starring Noah Wiley, which then went on to a series, and now they're rebooting it for another one. Dean Devlin, the guy who did Independence Day, was kind of his first big movie, is the driving force behind it. So that actually led to today's A side as well, from
Oh.
the most recent one, which has always been my favorite librarian movie because it has Gabrielle Anwar, who was in For Love or Money with Michael J. Fox that we talked about, in a previous episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she was also on Burn Notice. So always one of my favorites. But then somebody else popped up in that one, which led to today's A side.
Oh, okay. Well, wait. I know you're going first, but hold on. I wanted to tell you that you might enjoy this. I saw a preview for this when I was doing the ACMs. It's a freebie, Amazon freebie show called Jury Duty.
Yes, I've heard good things about it. I have not watched. Is it like I'm confused? It's not a scripted series.
It's I want to say maybe lightly scripted.
Okay.
But it is it's a jury pool. They're a jury in a trial, but everybody is actors except for one person.
Right. So they're like they don't know. Everybody else is in on the joke and they're not. They're just sitting there going,
exactly.
Like, what the heck?
This
Like
guy named Ronald.
James Marsden is in
Yes.
it. Yeah.
And of course he plays himself, which is
Yes.
hilarious, but he plays like a very like needy, like attention seeking version of himself, which I don't know if he's that way in person or not. But it's pretty funny.
I mean, I've only met him once.
Mhm. Oh, have you?
Yes, I was on the movie set for Sugar and Spice back in the summer of 1999.
Hmm.
It was filming here in the Twin Cities, and he was in the movie. And
Oh.
I stood next to him at the urinals, and we washed our hands and we said hello. He seemed very nice. It was
I feel like you have to have a good sense of humor to be able to play a character like this. Like
yeah,
you couldn't be this self-absorbed and actually be self-absorbed.
yeah. He's done a good job of kind of making fun of himself as the himbo, like the good looking dumb guy.
Yeah,
It's kind
yeah.
of like the roles like in that movie he plays like the quarterback, and but yeah, he's famous enough that I think like you couldn't play anybody but himself in a thing like this
Right.
because people would catch on. I saw
Right.
one clip where they were, I think that, so the dude that didn't know about it,
Hmm. I think his name's Ronald.
he was
Ronald.
being interviewed on something, and I guess that one of the other actors was on Parks and Rec,
Hmm.
and he mentioned to like somebody during the whole thing that he was a big Parks and Rec fan. So the producers had to like basically cut that guy out of the show
Oh.
because they didn't want him to get recognized.
Oh.
So like the actor he was being interviewed, he's like, yeah, like half of my stuff got cut because they didn't want me to be too much of the focus because they were worried he might figure it out.
No, that's funny.
Yeah, and this guy looks totally different. He has like a mustache. He's like 15 years older, so it's like I don't think he would have. And he wasn't like a lead star. He was just like a bit character,
Right.
but he was a recurring character. So I guess if you were like a really intense fan, you might recognize him,
Yeah, if
or if you
you're
were a
like,
fan of like that guy from that show.
yeah, yeah.
Which
It's funny because they do it as if this jury selection has been, or this trial has been granted like exclusive access. They're deep diving into the American jury process, so that's how
yeah,
they're getting away with the interviews,
yeah,
because
yeah. There's like this
normally,
specific thing. Yeah,
yeah.
you have to
And
be
so,
sequestered.
yeah, and well, and like all of that is hilarious how that happens, and it's really cringy, but it's really fun. Like it's funnier than I expected. My daughter kept telling me, "Oh, you should watch it. You should watch it." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay, sure." And then finally I was like, "Well, all right, I'm in between shows. I'm looking for something." And it's like
Yeah,
quick episodes, and it, these actors are underrated because of the fact that they're able to do this.
yeah. To make it, it's basically like kind of improv in a way.
Yeah. And to be able to like stick to it and not laugh or give it away, especially because like you said, they're sequestered. So they are having to live this
Yeah,
24/7.
yeah. It's like being everybody else in the Truman Show.
Yeah, it's good. When I finish, I will find in the interview, I guess Ronald, the subject of it, was on like Good Morning America or something. So I do want to see that and see how he handled it, like at the end, finding out. But I
Yeah,
highly recommend it. It's a good laugh. It'll make you
yeah.
giggle.
Because I wasn't sure. I was like, I kind of didn't get it. Like, is this like a scripted thing? And then it's also, but oh, is it like? Because I don't like impractical jokers and like those like hidden camera, like we're gonna like mess with people and then like everyone laughs about it. But like if I was in that situation, I would be so mad
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
people were like messing with me. And that's why like the people on those shows that I respect the most are the ones who just you can tell that they refuse to sign like the waiver because they're blurred out.
Right.
They're like, I don't want any part of this. And I was
Yeah.
like, that'd be me. I was like, I don't want to be made fun of on TV. This is not cool.
Fortunately, this guy seems like a really, like, they must have researched him or something, because he seems like a genuinely decent dude, and like his responses to a bunch of different situations, you're like, okay, this is a decent dude. Like, okay.
Yeah. Like it could have gone really off the
It
rails.
really could have, but Yeah. I'm enjoying watching James Marsden play this role though. This just play this really self-absorbed version, this attention seeking, like, I'm an actor. Do you know who I
Yeah.
am? Do you know what I was in? It's pretty funny.
Yeah. Do you know who I am thing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There was a big hubbub here in the Twin Cities today because a local news anchor was complaining about how they were served at Target right across the street from like the Target like headquarters in downtown Minneapolis. It became like a whole thing on Twitter, and but I mean, part of it is it's the discussion of right now. Everyone's saying, okay, downtown does not come back, but it's become a chicken or the egg thing. Like all the stores close at like 6 p.m.
Oh, okay.
And like the skyways get all locked up, and then like everything is like some people say, oh well, we have to lock everything up because of crime, but then no one wants to go down there because everything's locked up. So it's like we're chicken or the egg. So it became part of that bigger conversation, but there was definitely a bit of like people being like, oh, weren't you like, don't you know who I am?
That's always ugly.
Yeah, it's not great, but that's not what the anchor was saying. They were just being like, hey, I was told I couldn't be in the self checkout line because I had too many items, but I had exactly 15, and then like had a picture of her receipt, and then of course everyone is picking through what she bought.
Oh
like,
no!
If there's one thing I never want to do, if I have any sort of fame or anything, is like post my grocery receipt or my Target receipt and have everybody just pick it apart.
Ooh, that's cringe. That's real cringe.
Like you could, people are like, oh well, if you're into blueberries, you should really go here. It's like, that's not what this is about.
Right. Just leave
Not
my
looking for
groceries alone and let me be.
Yeah. Just notice that there are 15 items I was allowed in that line.
Oh man. All right. Well,
so yeah, we've had two decent segues into
I know.
The A side. So the A side this week is based off of we're doing another that guy from that show, and I tend to go in it's like sprees, not like a killing spree like the B side has sometimes, but I get stuck on fixated on something. And so we had that guy from that show last week with Matthew McFadden from Succession, and I've been watching the Librarians. This gentleman popped up as a bad guy. I've never seen him as a bad guy before. I've seen him in tons of stuff, and then I started like looking at his background. I'm like, oh, I know this guy. I'm like, I know him from this, and then I realized how many other shows this guy has been in that I have watched. It's almost like his entire career has just been popping up in shows that Adam has watched for the last 30 years. So his name is Eric, and I'm gonna probably mispronounce this a little bit, but Eric Avari. He goes by Eric Avari. He was born Namaran, Iraq Avari. He's from Delhi, India, and he's one of those faces where you will immediately recognize him. He's probably his most famous roles. He was the chief or the leader of the small Egyptian town in the original Stargate movie with James Spader and Kurt Russell. He was in both of the two best Mummy movies. He was in Mr. Deeds, which was the Adam Sandler, guy from Frostbite Falls, New Hampshire, or Vermont, something, inherits this company in New York City, and he's got to, come down to sort of fish out of water. I think it's a retelling of like an old Jimmy Stewart movie, to be honest. But Eric Avari has had an incredibly long, interesting career, and what he's done after, he's kind of like in the last 5 years, what he's decided to do is even almost as cool as all of the movies and TV shows that he has been in. So Eric was born in 1952 in Darjeeling, West Bengal, India. His parents owned two movie theaters. So if your parents owned two movie theaters in the like 50s and 60s, I gotta assume that like you're just gonna naturally end up either hating all movies or you're gonna be in show business.
Right.
There's like no in between. Like both of my parents were teachers, so I was gonna become a teacher or I would do the very opposite and never teach my entire life. And I went that second route because I was grading papers when I was in third grade because my mom taught second. So I was grading timetables at the kitchen table after dinner so we could get through them and we could all go watch Murder She Wrote. His great great grandfather was one of the pioneers of Indian cinema, so it makes sense that his descendants would then
Bollywood?
own. Yes, I mean the I did not find any
not directly Bollywood, but like
not the Bollywood like musical style, but just Indian the film industry. He was early on. I think Bollywood is kind of its own genre within the Indian cinema world, is my understanding.
Okay.
So he is one of only 2 actors who appeared in both the original Stargate movie and then, of course, the spin-off series Stargate SG-1, which was way more successful than the 1994 Stargate movie, which I thoroughly enjoyed, but was completely hated by critics and somehow didn't get a spin-off didn't get a sequel when everything in the 90s got sequels. But he had the unique experience of being in probably like the 2 biggest sci-fi movies of the mid 90s, or at least to Adam, 2 of the biggest sci-fi movies of the mid 90s. So Stargate in 1994, and then he was in Independence Day 2 years later as well. He was in both the Mummy and the second Mummy movie. He was in For Love or Money, which mentioned Gabrielle Anwar, who was in the librarian King Solomon's Mines with him. They were both in For Love or Money as well. In For Love or Money, he had maybe 2 scenes in the entire movie. He's the jeweler in one of these downtown New York City bodegas where he and Michael J. Fox's character have this, like grift where they bring in and pretend like they're fighting, and then they get the rich clients to buy the watch, and then Michael J. Fox gets a kickback because he brought him in there. It's real fun, little role. He was in McHale's Navy, which was a remake of an old sitcom starring Tom Arnold, and is one of the worst movies of all time. we could probably have an entire A-side just on that one. Other than the fact that like Tim Curry is having so much fun as the bad guy, and that's a lot of fun to see. I did not realize, Brooke, how many Home Alone movies are there in your knowledge?
There's 5.
There are 5.
Yeah.
I missed the last 2. I could see
the only reason I know that is because we ended up doing like a trivia on it at work. Oh,
that's a very specific work trivia. So he was in Home Alone 4. He played the butler. I don't know anything about Home Alone 4. I just know it wasn't any of the Culkin kids. He was in Mr. Deeds, as I mentioned, and plays Cecil, the sort of like straight-laced business guy who then ends up having one of the funniest scenes when they're in the plane and Adam Sandler is singing Major Tom, Ground Control to Major Tom. He starts singing along too. It's a great moment. You don't see it coming at all. He had some runs where he was in some really bad movies. The Master of Disguise, which only reason anyone remembers that at this point, 21 years later, is the Turtle thing, was the Dana Carvey film where he, wears all these different costumes and it's very over the top and it was absolutely horrible. But he was in that as he didn't even have a name; he was just cigar maker. He was in the original Daredevil, which has the world's worst fight scene on a playground. Affleck? With Ben Affleck in 2003 and Jennifer Gardner. He was evidently, this is a movie that exists that I did not know exists, but it's called, and I will never see it because I am already scared just of the title, Flight of the Living Dead, Outbreak on a Plane.
Okay.
So I think it's just like the natural, like we had snakes on a plane and we got zombies on a plane. So that one actually is one of his best reviewed movies on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Charlie Wilson's War, Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Love that movie, by the way.
A lot of, and the sequel's not horrible. I mean, he was not in the sequel, I guess. He didn't make it. But then if you look at all the stuff he's been in on TV, and this is where I went, holy cow. I've been watching this guy for my entire life. Law and Order, LA Law, Murphy Brown, Star Trek The Next Generation, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Wings, Cheers.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Yeah, he was in one episode in 1992 played somebody called Cedric, and it's an episode named Ill Will. I mean, all of these, he's just been like guest stars in 1 or 2 episodes.
Right.
But he just pops up in everything. Wings, Cheers, Seinfeld, Sequest, Mad About You, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Lois and Clark, The Adventures of Superman. I mean, Murder, She Wrote, Babylon 5, The John Larroquette Show, Baywatch Nights.
Wow.
I know I saw him at Baywatch Nights. Jag, Stargate SG-1, West Wing, Star Trek Enterprise. He's got 3 Star Trek so far. The X-Files, let's see, Dharma and Greg, Everwood, Law and Order Again,
Good gracious.
NCIS, Jag. I mean, and we're not, this is, we're still got like about 15 years worth of stuff to go. Burn Notice, Life, Leverage. I mean, all of, like, every movie that Adam has watched every episode of, or every series that Adam has watched every episode of, and I like to speak in the third person, evidently. Every series that I have watched every episode of, this guy has been in. Castle, Human Target, Warehouse 13.
Oh, I loved Human Target.
Party Down, Covert Affairs, The Mentalist, Major Crimes, Scorpion, Grimm, Madam Secretary. So he is slowed down he is 71 this year. He will turn, he turned 71 this year. So he's been slowing down in the last probably 10 years, where he's not doing nearly as much work. He's still, he was on The Chosen, which was a historical drama series about the life of Jesus of Nazareth. It was the most recent thing. He was in 8 episodes of that back in 2019. But after that, he kind of, stopped working, retired. He still is updating his Facebook page a little bit, but he bought an RV. And since 2019,
he's just traveling the world in his RV or something?
He's just traveling the country in his RV.
No way.
He's just out adventuring, living out of an RV, like occasionally posting stuff. The most recent
is he married? Like, is it just him?
He was married at one point, and I believe he's still married.
The way you said that, at one point, but after living in the RV, she was like, nah, I'm out.
I mean, the thing is, like, he's pretty much just dropped off the face of the earth for the last 4 years. Like, he posts on his Facebook every once in a while. So on our website, asidebsidepodcast.square.site, you'll have links to his Instagram, his Facebook, his Twitter feed, some articles about him. The most recent one, he's just off adventuring, and somebody on his Facebook page posts for him because he doesn't always have internet access because he's living out of an RV. But in August, he was up in Vancouver for a Stargate convention. Most recently, he was down in Branson getting interviewed by, evidently, Branson's IMAX Entertainment Complex has their own Facebook page, and they do interviews with people, which I didn't know at IMAX, but whatever. But so that's the most recent thing. He was in Branson, being interviewed and talking about his adventures and his career and all the shows that he's been in. But he basically just at one point, it's like, all right, I'm done. I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna buy an RV and I'm gonna travel the country. And he calls it adventuring, and he's just off adventuring, and it is really cool. I have enjoyed his work. I don't even think I realized how many things I'd seen him in throughout my life, but one of these guys that just keeps popping up. He's always a delight. It's so weird. Like, I've never seen him as like the main bad guy in an action movie, so that was really weird with the librarian King Solomon's Mines. But it was a delight to see him, and then to find out his entire background. I highly recommend you check out our website, go to those links, see what he's been up to. I now follow him on all of the socials, so as soon as he updates something, I'll get it'll pop up in my feed, which is pretty exciting. But it's always fun to see the story, like this face that person whose name you don't even know, but like to look into their background and see all the things that they've been a part of, the amazing career that they've had, and also what they're up to now. And I mean, if you told me a week ago that I would know his name and know that he was traveling the country in an RV, and I kind of hoped that I'd run into him someday, I would not have believed you. But that's the beauty of the A side when we fall down one of these rabbit holes.
Well, there you go. Good job, Adam.
Thank you. I'm very excited. He is a very interesting dude. Just the interviews that you'll find on his pages, or his own website is not active anymore. I think he probably took that down, because who really has a website anymore? Social media, you've got Facebook page, a Twitter page, and Instagram. Like, do you really need, your own website? But there's a lot of information out there. He seems like a really interesting guy. He is politically active, so some of his posts are going to be, are a little bit more political, but he does some amazing nature photography as well, and there's cute dogs, and he's traveling all over the country, so it's really cool.
Awesome. Well, good A-side. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
I love when you get so excited about that guy from that show.
It's so cool to see people's backgrounds and learn who they are more than just like the face. I didn't even get to mention he's played in Hollywood, and he's played, I think last count it was like 30 different ethnicities in his roles over the last 40 years of acting, which is kind of cool. It also speaks to the fact that Hollywood, when they see somebody who just doesn't look white, they'll be like, "Wow, we'll just throw someone who's not white."
Yeah, he is very ethically ambiguous to Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly. Much like it was Cliff Curtis, who we've talked about, was another that guy from that show, who is who has played like every Polynesian, like every Pacific Island nation in Australia. Like he's just all over the place, but he's like from Ireland.
Oh man. Well, the background on the person that we're going to talk about on the B side, not quite as chipper and fun, I guess.
No.
But we are changing gears
Shocking.
a little bit this week. I know, right? The B side, and they're not a good person. OMG. We are changing gears a little bit this week. Adam, you won't have any nightmares. No murder this week.
Oh, no murder.
No murder. I read this and I was like, man, this is wild. This is this
wild and crazy stuff.
Wild and thank you, Johnny Curzon.
That was the worst Johnny Curzon voice ever. That's fine.
This week we are actually talking about a guy who has the moniker the Lottery Lawyer. His name is Jason Kurland. So we're not really going to go much into Jason's history because, well, we just want to really talk about what he's done. Adam, do you play the lottery?
I have occasionally. I like to spend the $2 and dream about what I would do.
My mom and I talk about it a lot, and she has promised me that she will buy a radio station when she wins the lottery. I'm not going to say if, it's a when. So she always tells me she'll buy a radio station for me. And I'm like, that's great. I don't want to run it. I just want to be on air.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to hire somebody to run it, right?
Right. If you're hiring somebody to do all the paperwork and stuff, that's great. I don't want to do that. I just want to do the on-air part, but we laugh about
all
that.
The business stuff in the background.
Like, before she retired, she was like a financial analyst. She can handle that. Look, you can do
absolutely.
You can handle the monies, okay? That's your thing.
I do feel like if she saw the books for a radio station, she would, as a financial analyst, she would decide not to buy a radio station.
Probably. She'd say, I'm changed my mind. And I'd say, I don't blame you.
how about a Dairy Queen? Everybody loves ice cream.
Right. Oh my goodness. So the Powerball currently is about $400 million.
I'd be happy with one. Just give me 1 million.
Seriously. But
I could spend it real quick though.
I know. One of the things you always hear though when people are talking about like winning the lottery, make sure you get an attorney, make sure you get a financial advisor, this and that. But attorney is always at the top of the list. And this guy, Jason Kurland, became known as the lottery lawyer because many of his clients were major lottery winners. He actually, apparently, when he first got into law, it wasn't to be the lottery lawyer. He kind of fell into that because one of his friends had won the lottery and needed some help. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. So maybe initially his intentions were good, but I don't know. I feel like money just brings out the trueness of a person.
Right. And also lottery winnings, I think it's one thing for somebody to have achieved success through like hard work or even like, family. It's not just, but when it's lottery, it's like you didn't do anything but buy a ticket. Like, so did you really deserve this? Did you earn it? I think it makes people less likely to take it seriously or respect it.
I don't know. It's just people come out of the woodwork, and it's like, and this guy, I feel like he's one of the kind of creeps that came out of the woodwork. Jason Kurland just was sentenced to well, more than a decade in prison of federal time for committing fraud against his clients, for stealing and misappropriating more than $100 million. And
Good grief.
On top of that, he lost more than $40 million in investment capital to a Ponzi scheme like Bernie Madoff.
Yep.
So Jason Kurland's attorneys call him, quote, this is funny, the least culpable defendant in this matter by any stretch of the imagination. Ooh. I'm going to say, I think you're wrong there, partner.
I mean, it's their job. They're literally getting paid to say that.
100%. And they did that with conviction. But fortunately, U.S. District Judge Nicholas Garoufis said, yeah, I don't agree with you. And he ended up sentencing Jason to 13 years behind bars for wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering. He also added on 3 additional years of supervised release, and he's been ordered to repay $64,600,000.
Does he have 64 million?
Well, it might. I don't know. I don't know. Jason Kurland had his clients were lottery winners. One of them included a 1.5 billion Mega Millions jackpot winner. Another one was a $245 million Powerball jackpot. Another one was a $150 million Powerball jackpot winner. These were just some of his clients, hence his name.
Goodness.
The lottery lawyer. Right. Prosecutors stated that Jason accepted hundreds of thousands of dollars from his victims for investment advice. And then he gained their trust because he gave them like some traditional investment advice, and it went really well. And then he kind of was like, well, see, that went really well for you. How about we do this? And kind of steered them to different business deals that were controlled by him and his co-defendants. And then he's receiving like the kickback money.
Right.
And of
like,
course,
invest in this pizza place that doesn't exist.
But of course, he's not telling his clients that they're investing in this pizza place that doesn't exist, as he's getting money for them investing in this pizza place that doesn't exist. So apparently he and his co-conspirators were all accused of using the money that they got from the lottery victims, and they invested it to keep their scheme going, hence the Ponzi scheme. And then a portion of the money that they took was actually given back to the victims as like interest payments on their investments. So like, see, I told you your investment is really working out for you. Here's an interest payment. Let's get some more money. When in reality, they weren't actually making money. It was just to kind of trick them into, the investments.
Yeah, he was shuffling the cards. So, one person invests and uses that to show somebody else that they've got interest, and then they invest.
Yes,
it's like the 3-card Monty thing. But there's no queen.
Yeah, in this money that he stole, he's funding this lavish lifestyle. Mind you, he's already a partner at a law firm and making like $500,000 a year.
Yeah, he's doing okay.
That wasn't enough for him. So he's taking this money from his clients and funding this lifestyle where he had private jets. Of course, he's taking these lavish, expensive vacations. He had a Porsche. He had 2 yachts. I mean, he is living the life.
I mean, you got to live a lot of life to spend $100 million.
Apparently he was, with private jets and yachts and a Porsche.
Yeah, that's true. But like a Porsche is like, even the most expensive one's like 150,000, like 300,000 maybe if you get like, like not like 100 million.
True.
That's a lot of Porsches.
That is a lot of Porsches. Prosecutors also said that Jason was like, he would gloat about taking the money from the victims. Like, on one occasion, he sends a text message to one of his co-defendants after he had convinced someone to purchase a business. It was like for $2 million. And he sends a text message to one of his co-conspirators and says, like looking at my bank statement today, not gonna lie. So this dude, like I said, I don't know his initial motivation when he got into being the lottery lawyer, but it ended up being all about the money.
Well, and at some point, you wonder if the temptation just becomes so big, and you're like, well, these people aren't going to notice. They're just lottery people.
And maybe he's like, hey, money comes and goes for these people, so I might as well enjoy it while I can too. I don't know. You know?
It is scary though, because you can totally see how that would happen. You're like, oh man, I just won the lottery. I need a lawyer, but I should have somebody who's done this before. Oh, this guy's done it a lot. Let's use him.
Yeah, and that's the scary part, because you're thinking, oh, he's got several lottery clients, so he's got to be good. When in all actuality,
he knows what he's doing.
He's stealing money from them.
Yeah.
So, of course, the house of cards has to tumble, and all good things, all good criminal things maybe, come to an end. And he knew it. He knew, okay, my time is short. And the same co-conspirator that he was bragging to, he actually sent another text message, and he's like, as he realized, okay, we might be in trouble, things might be falling apart, he sends a text message that says, let me know if I'm keeping the Panorama, his Porsche, or if I have to go back to my Lexus.
Oh man, back to the Lexus.
Oh, darn. Oh, darn. You have to go back to the Lexus.
Life is tough.
The really sad part is, one of the clients that he stole the money from and got caught up in the Ponzi scheme said they did not want to invest because they were afraid of something happening like Bernie Madoff. And he's like, oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. He's like, I promise
that doesn't
it's
happen.
Very safe. No, this is very safe. You're going to be in good hands. So again, he was sentenced to 13 years in federal prison, and he's going to have to repay $64,600,000. Before his sentencing, the judge had actually calculated his punishment based on a guideline of between 11 and a quarter years and 14 years, and he got almost the max, which was 13 years.
Yeah. Definitely seems like he deserved it.
Yeah, he's 49, and he is definitely going to be spending his 50th and 60th birthdays behind bars.
Well, you gotta wonder, is he gonna get to go to one of those like Club Med type fancy jails?
Probably.
Or is he gonna be in like oh hey, here's hardened criminal jail?
No, I mean, he's probably going to some cushy Fed prison. One of his co-conspirators was actually a part of an Italian crime family, and he was sentenced to 5 years in prison. He also took part in the PPE related scheme because he was trying to make up for the losses in the Ponzi scheme.
Right.
So,
it's like, commit more crimes to cover up the crimes.
It's just schemes all around. But yeah, I don't know why that one just really, because it's not like I'm ever going to win the lottery, because I don't even play the lottery, but it's just, I feel like, because it is the one thing you always hear, if you win the lottery, get yourself an attorney. And that's what these people did. And they trusted this man.
They're like, it's going to be fine. And not so much.
Not so much. So I guess the moral of the story is, even if you think you've found a good attorney, maybe keep digging just a little bit more. Maybe see if you, I know there's attorney-client privilege, but see if there's a way that you could
don't put all your money in one place.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to find 5 crooked lawyers than it is, like maybe you'll get 1 crooked lawyer.
Right.
Is it going to be 5?
Is it going to be 5? Hopefully not.
And don't they have a vested interest to watch each other?
The attorneys?
Yeah. You got 5 lawyers, they're all watching each other.
Oh yeah, because they want the business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You play them off, you play them off against each other.
That's a good point. But there you go. That is this week's B-side. But Adam, just because I know you're disappointed that we didn't have murder, I thought this would round out the B-side really nicely. I love Reddit. Do you go on Reddit ever?
Yes, I've gotten into Reddit once I got off Twitter.
Okay.
And I was like, well, maybe Reddit, it's an entirely different medium, but I've enjoyed it. But it's
Oh,
very
yeah.
strange. It's a very strange post.
Reddit comes up with some of the most fascinating questions, and like the responses are top notch. And I found this on Reddit and I thought, okay, this will be great since we're not having an actual murder case today. We could do this.
Okay.
There was a question on Reddit that asked, what celebrities do you think would make unsurprising serial killers? So you log on to MSN or CNN or whatever, and you're like, such and such found serial killer, and you're like, yeah, I'm not even surprised by that.
Oh yeah, so that because the thing is, like, sometimes, like, who would have thought Cosby would, at one point Cosby was like, this is a great guy.
That was TV's, that was like America's Dad. That was the most shocking thing. Right.
Yeah.
But there are some people where you're like Armie Hammer, you're like, yeah, I'm not shocked. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. Or like, yeah. So here we go. Some celebrities that you totally would not be surprised by if you found out they were a serial killer. And Adam, I'm
gonna give my responses to each one.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Jared Leto.
Oh yeah, I think he might already.
This is the best response someone said. They said he's the type of person who would say some pretentious crap during the kill, like, I release your soul from its confines of this wicked flesh, so you may be reborn anew. Totally could see him saying something like that.
I mean, the man tried to murder comic book movies with Morbius.
Oh, burn. I just think if he doesn't already have bodies in the basement that he's, playing new 30 Seconds to Mars songs to, he probably
hasn't been an album in a while, so
I guess the response has not been great from his victims. This is all jokes.
Yeah, this one kills at home.
Oh. How about the Property Brothers?
Ooh. I mean, but then Zoe Deschanel's involved, and I don't want that to be true.
Look, under some floorboards somewhere, there's some secrets. Okay.
Yeah. They're too smiley. And they're like tall and gangly, kind of like a thin man thing going on. I can see it.
All right. How about Tom Cruise?
I don't know if we're allowed to speak on Scientology in this, since we're on a spot. I'm gonna just pass on that one.
Okay. All right. Someone said Christian Bale said he watched a lot of his interviews while preparing for American Psycho. So that should tell you something about Tom Cruise. If Christian Bale, who in American Psycho was way too good, and his inspiration was Tom Cruise, that speaks volumes.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Okay, this one made me giggle. Joel Osteen.
I mean, he seems more like a crime boss.
Oh, you think he's like the lottery lawyer? He's just
like there may be bodies, but he's never doing the dirty work himself.
Okay, all right.
He's getting some guy named like Cliff. to go call Cliff, and everyone knows what that means.
Oh, all right. Well, on Reddit, someone says, don't worry, me strangling you to death and then dismembering your corpse and leaving pieces all around Houston is part of God's plan.
It is. It's all part of God's plan.
It's all part of God's plan. God. You got to say it like he does. God.
God. I can't do a Southern accent.
Okay, here's one. Kevin Spacey.
I mean, he was in 7, so.
What's in a box?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see it. I mean, he's not had a great run lately, so maybe that's the next step where he's just like, forget this. No one will hire me.
He claims that once he's cleared, he's already got people lined up ready to hire him again.
I mean, I'm sure there are people that have told him that. Like, can't you see somebody in Hollywood being like, oh yeah, no, I would you'd be perfect for this role. I would totally hire you if it wasn't for all that legal stuff.
Right. Once you're
just let me know when you get that. Yeah.
Wink, wink. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, no, I would totally date you if I wasn't already dating somebody. You're such a catch.
Okay. What about Ellen DeGeneres?
I mean, that one I don't see.
Really? Even with all the scandal and how she's just an awful person?
Yeah, but I mean, like, again, where's the rage coming from? Like, I wouldn't
Well,
want to
where
be
was the rage
late.
coming from when she was on the show, just treating people horribly?
That's true. I mean, I get that was a stretch for me, but
Okay.
that's okay.
All right. Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah. How does he wrote? Yeah. Like Stephen King wouldn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know he's not because he seems like a really nice dude, but like the stuff that he has written, like you have to go to a dark place to have that in your mind.
Right.
So it'd be like, okay, that is a natural, like, oh, now it's not fiction. And Quentin Tarantino with his movies, like there's definitely like you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah,
Totally makes
Inglorious
sense
Bastards,
now.
huh? Scalping people. Oh,
Right.
the mind that came up with that actually killed somebody. Shocking.
Real quick, back to Stephen King. The thing that like trips me out totally is he can go to such a dark place, but then also writes children's books.
Yeah, and he's just an incredibly talented writer.
Yeah.
But and a lot of his, I love that. Like when I used to be on Twitter, he would refer to his corgi as like like the corgi's name was like George or something, and it was like George the Thing of Evil, and then it was like he would take a picture of like this adorable corgi like sitting next to a toy that got destroyed, and he's like, "Oh, the Thing of Evil strikes again." I'm like, this is so incongruent because it's the cutest dog ever.
Before I give you the last one, I'm going to throw one in myself.
Okay.
Now, I've been thinking about this. James Corden.
Yeah, that one I can see.
He is so like over the top.
I do not enjoy it.
No?
No.
Okay.
Like it just doesn't seem real.
It just comes off really just
like it's too cheery, too like it's just like I'm sure he's a very nice guy, but like if I got sat at a wedding with him, I'm gonna spend a lot of time on the dance floor. Not because I danced well, but because I don't want to be at the table.
Well, see, and that's why maybe that overly cheery, he's thinking it detracts from the fact that he's a serial killer.
He's actually very, very scary.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to think of like, I mean, like the easy ones would be like Christopher Walken, but like we know he's not, or like Steve Buscemi because he kind of looks like a serial killer,
right?
But like, and then like all the people who are like actual criminals,
right? So you can't
like if we just added it to like R. Kelly's list of stuff he did, at this point no one would be like, oh, didn't see that guy.
Pretty much, you're like, well,
yeah.
All right, I have one more for
you. Like if somebody said Kanye, I'd be like, okay, well he's been on a spiral.
Okay, as much as I am not a Kanye fan, that would surprise me.
Really? Well, no.
Yeah.
He seems to come up with new surprising things all the time. So now it's like nothing is surprising.
Yeah, I guess when you look at it like that.
Like after he did the whole like he went gospel for a bit.
Yeah, that was something. All right, one more. You ready?
Yes.
Jada Pinkett Smith. You know.
Yeah, she.
Will probably knows all the secrets, knows where all the bodies are buried, and he is just trying to keep himself alive.
Yeah, maybe that's why he went out the first round. He's like,
that's what I'm saying. He was like, I have to do something, so I survived the night.
I think maybe that was him saving Chris Rock.
Oh, maybe. I didn't.
He's like, if I go up there and slap him, it's going to be a big thing, and then it would be too obvious if he ended up dead.
Didn't even think of it like that. That's a good point.
So I'm going to hit you to save you, Chris Rock.
I'm saving your life. You'll never know the sacrifice I have made for you, but I am doing this for you.
I'm ruining my career. I'm never going to be invited back to the Oscars. I'm never going to get nominated again.
That is the sacrifice he made to save Chris Rock's life.
To save his friend.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a better story, honestly. Because it makes sense. Because like, why hasn't it really been a thing? Like once you hit him, and like, is it keep? Like you wonder if he muttered something under his breath, so like she'll kill you.
Right. Just play along.
And that's why that's why he was so shocked. He was like, "Oh,
trying to save you. Trying to save you." Yeah.
Play along, man. You've gone too far.
She wants to kill you. Yeah.
Yeah. I think really that's really what it comes down. It's just just looking out for. It's like when you yell at the stray dog to go away because you want to save its life. Don't follow me anymore, dog.
Right. And can we go back to Zooey Deschanel and the Property Brothers? And absolutely, I want to say something, but I don't want to ruin. Those like sweet couples, and then everybody's like, we never saw that coming. There was that sweet couple that people would be like, we never saw that coming, but she's just so quirky, like James Corden. She's so quirky and she's so happy and she's so upbeat that it would totally make sense. But they have like reeled her in, and she's like coming out with these like crazy elaborate schemes now.
And that they'd be like making comments about the house while they're murdering you.
Right. Oh, that would be perfect to hide a body. That. Yeah. Oh, that. Yeah.
Don't worry. This tile, we can clean that right up. It doesn't stain.
That paneling.
This is why you spring for the freezer on the bottom of the fridge.
No heavy lifting.
That's right. Just ride it.
I just want to say this is all
let gravity do the work.
This is all
jokes.
This is we don't actually
We're gonna get canceled.
Serial killers.
Spotify is gonna delist us.
Oh my gosh. All right.
140 episodes was a good run.
It was a good run.
If this is not our last episode, you can check out our website, asidebsidepodcast.square.site. You can hear all 140 episodes on there. You can subscribe to us on all of your favorite networks. You can buy Brooke a coffee because she has to edit all this stuff together. Because otherwise, she's just going to be on Reddit, and we're going to come up with other ways for us to get canceled. You can also buy all of our merchandise, which if we do get canceled, will be half off.
No, it won't. We'll need the money even more.
We'll need the money. That's right. Yeah. But yes, please check everything. And again, all of our links. So I'm sure Brooke will have a link to that Reddit thread on the website as well, if you can still find it, if it hasn't been taken down by Reddit. And of course, links to Eric Avari's social media stuff, where you can kind of see what he's been up to and all of his history, and then also details on the lottery lawyer and that gentleman and his sordid ways also. So check us out, asidebsidepodcast.square.site.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you, Brooke.